And hello, everyone, and Move, Think, Smile, and the Fatigue Free Professional. There's been a lot going on this week, man. We've been talking to a lot of people. And today we really just want to dive deep into something that we've seen really not happening with a lot of people out there. And a lot of people talk about it, and a lot of people just don't act with it. And that is the power of congruence. And if you're not really familiar with congruence, I mean, maybe you remember from high school, it's like a congruent triangle, congruent lines, congruent this. And basically, it's about, what you say and you do on the outside. And if it's the same, if it's matching on what's going on with you on the inside. And other words for this are things like harmony, integrity, and agreement. And what's really crazy is, Elea and I and Move, Think, Smile and the entire team here, we're really about growing and accelerating your career, leveling up your business, leveling up your team, becoming a massive leader, and really doing that through helping you feel as good as you possibly can. And it's really about energy and overcoming fatigue and squashing burnout and all those kinds of things. And the question that you really need to ask, is are you living kind of a lie? And we don't need to be like horrible about this, but I know I can talk about that because there's so much stuff online right now, and we're being exposed to some really high integrity, congruent people. But we're also being exposed to just a lot of BS out there, you know. And we've been exposed to it so much through marketing and advertising and through all these programs. And you can't turn the other cheek without seeing, how to make 6 figures next month, or
Yes.
or how to make 10 grand in 4 weeks, or how to make $50,000, or how to get 3,000 more leads into your business. I mean, that shit is everywhere. And what's really funny and is that these people that are marketing a lot of this stuff, not all of them, but most of them, they'll sit there in like a friggin' $10,000 suit that they rented for the day with a Lamborghini that they rented, and they'll go drive around town and they'll take pictures of it. Or they have these super professional Facebook pictures on Instagram, all these crazy angles and all this kind of stuff. And what's really funny is if you get back behind the scenes with a lot of these people, what they're showing up front is not who they really are. They're not congruent.
Mm-hmm.
They're not being the person that it is. And I remember one time I had gotten into this program, and this guy was teaching this thing, and it was really, really super high level. And then I found out that he did none of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
I was really, really upset. And I felt like this guy he was lying to me. I felt like he was living a lie. And then after I caught myself getting mad. I'm like, you know what? He's the one who's hurting himself. I mean, he's hurting his clients for sure. And I did get something out of it, but I was really upset that, thinking that he had done all these things and he was living this way and he wasn't. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, are you living a lie? Are you projecting an identity of saying it's all good when you know deep down it's not? Are you forcing yourself to be positive or grateful?
Yeah.
Are you keeping your word to yourself? And so today, Ellie and I are going to talk about the power of not just congruence, but intentional congruence. Ellie?
So the very first, we want to talk about 3 key components of this, but of course the first step being congruence. And it's so important to realize and show up powerfully for yourself, right? Not just for everyone else. And I think, Adam, what you're kind of talking about is people who basically run over themselves to show up for everyone else for what they think everyone else wants to see. And it's so important to realize the decisions that you are making, are they congruent with the goals you have said you want to achieve? And a lot of us are not congruent with ourselves, which leads to a lot of fatigue because we have a lot of inner conflict. We're trying to be something that we're not. And we get a lot of guilt because we'll say we want to be healthier. We say we want to exercise more. We say we want to eat healthier. And yet each day we're really making most of our choices that absolutely conflict and go against our own goals.
Like people who say they eat healthy or I'm eating well, but then you turn around and find out that they just bought a frozen pizza at the local grocery store because it was half off. Not only did they do that, but they eat the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is that really congruent with where you want to be? And
Yeah.
I
And
think what I want to just kind of just stack right here quick, Ellie,
yeah.
is intentional congruence, guys. And this is really
Mhm.
about centering what you find deeply fulfilling and joyful in every aspect of your life. It's being congruent. It's being congruent with what you really want. And for
Yeah.
most people, following us, for most people, in fact, I'm going to make a bold statement, go 99.9999% of the people following us really want to have a positive impact on the world.
Hmm.
They really, 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 really want to make the world a better place, and
Yeah.
they want to hold high integrity. And so they take all of their time and they put it towards kind of like this goal, but they don't realize that what's actually fueling them
Hmm.
is starting to deteriorate. And it's starting to deteriorate at a really fast level.
Yeah. I think it's important too to jump in with the fact that, we might, I think it can kind of sound bad when it's like, oh, these people are living incongruent, right? And making them the bad guy or making them seem bad. And I want people to understand that there are a lot of times in my own life when I've woken up and realized I'm living incongruently, right? So sometimes we don't even realize the incongruence. But I can tell you that if you're not reaching your health goals, if you're not getting the energy that you need, and specifically, we're really talking about being able to accelerate your career today because again, for a lot of people we speak to, that's the big push, right? They've come to this point in their career where they realize they need better health, they need more energy to take it to the next level. And really realizing that you're not congruent with what you're saying is a huge, huge opportunity for a shift, right? And a lot of times we need people outside of us to point that out. So sometimes people will even say, maybe even your best friend, it's like, hey, dude, why are you doing that when you said you want to go to the gym 7 days a week, right? And we start to realize, oh, I'm totally not living congruently. Now, the really important point here is that this is also about keeping your word to yourself. And when you keep your word to yourself, your confidence starts to soar, your energy starts to soar because you're not spending tons of your energy in that conflicted place of either why am I not getting results or I'm living a lie, but I don't want anyone to know. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I just really want to dive down. It's like what you want. And here's an example for me. What I wanted was I wanted to have a positive. I had kids really young. I wanted to have positive impact on my son and on my daughter, and I did. But I also had a lot of negative impact on them too. And
Mm-hmm.
it's because I was incongruent with what I wanted. I wanted that, but my actions outside of me weren't reflecting that. I thought they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
I thought they were because I was taught that you've got to go to work, put in your 12 hours a fucking day, make things happen, build this business. Every entrepreneur goes through this battle and through all this stuff, and in the end, I sacrificed my health.
Mm-hmm.
I sacrificed my kids and the
Mm-hmm.
relationships with my family. I barely saw them. I felt like I was trapped in a brick box, the office, and while I thought it's like, man, if I build this legacy and I'll have these things that pass down to my kids, and what ended up happening is it completely backfired
Yeah.
because I wasn't. And I was telling myself I really want to eat well, right? I was telling myself I really want to feel good, and so I would go out there and I would do some. I did the standard, get out there, exercise 3 times a week, get your heart rate up, make sure you're in the fat burning zone, and all that kind of stuff. But I still felt like crap. And
Yeah.
then it's like, make sure you get to bed early and then wake up and then do these things. And I just was incongruent. It's like, I don't want to rely on caffeine anymore. I don't want to rely on alcohol to wind down at the end of the day. I was
Yeah.
there, I was smoking, and I didn't want to rely on that for stress management anymore. And I kept telling myself that I wanted to be this healthy, wealthy person. But I was all my decisions were going against that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I was freaking doing. And because I wasn't, and the block was, I think because everybody else around me was doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We grew up with certain strategies. I mean, you learn strategies from your parents and your peers and the people that you see. And what's so fascinating to me is just realizing. I mean, as you get older, you begin to realize just how um, imperfect everyone is, right? And that maybe your parents don't know it all, and that they are just trying their best with the information and the tools that they had, but that we are evolving extremely quickly as what is possible for us. And it all stems from our ability to have the energy and, of course, to have the right mindset to get there. And so, one thing that we hear a lot as well from the people in this group is that, you can also lose a lot of energy from being in work that doesn't fuel you, right? It's like, I don't like my job. I don't like my work. My business is eating me alive. And unless you either change your work, change your business, or change the way you're perceiving and thinking about it, that's going to be a massive energy drain. Because think about it, you work most of your life, right? So you're
That's
doing something, 8 to 12 to 16 hours a
right.
day that you're not enjoying, you don't feel good about, you don't have integrity with. No wonder you're tired,
So this
right?
this is getting behind your purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because once you know what your purpose is, you can really rely on it to basically get your ass out of bed in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I went to college, got a couple undergrad degrees, an associate's degree, then went to a really nice graduate school, got my master's there. I was like the youngest person there out of everybody in my class. Like there was only like I think two people that came out of college. Everybody else had to have like all this experience before they went through it. Got a degree in marketing and business, went into work for some big companies, some big corporations, stuff like that. And I did it and I did it and did it. And I ended up getting, what was it, 65 pounds? I don't know. I got up to 200, almost 250. It was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I hated it, but
Mm-hmm.
I was doing it because I was taught that this is the way I've got to work. And I was making good money. I was making stupid money,
Mm-hmm.
actually, back then. But I just hated life. All I could dream about is doing something. And what ended up happening is that because I wasn't being congruent with myself and what I really wanted and living my purpose, that ended up to a divorce with the kid's mom.
Yeah.
And then that was just a downstream of stuff. And I'm not even going to go into that right now. So we've been led to believe that we don't deserve it all. We've been
Mm-hmm.
led to believe that it's not possible. We've been led to believe that people are piles of shit. We've been led
Mm-hmm.
to believe that I'm a pile of shit. We've been led to
Mm-hmm.
believe all this stuff. And guys, none of this is true.
Yeah.
And that's why inside you want something, but outside you don't do it.
Mm-hmm. And I like that you said that because it also brings me to that word doubt, right? So for a lot of people, it feels like the idea of getting their energy back, the idea of really being where they want to be in their career or business, the idea of having the health they want it, but they doubt it. They doubt it's possible, right? And some of this comes from what you were saying in the beginning is, these big promises. Marketing language has, a certain flair in itself. It's designed when it's done well to really motivate you to the next level. But a lot of times we fall into the trap of, oh, well, there's just no way this can't work for me. And that again, you're stuck in that incongruent place because you want to have something, but you doubt it can ever happen,
And I can,
right?
and
There's
I,
no.
yeah, and this is great, Elia, because I can really speak to that from being in a corporate environment, right? So working for other people, and in that
Mhm.
corporate environment, being a leader and kind of a low level executive back then, to then being an entrepreneur, to then being a business owner, and then to then being the CEO of a couple companies, and kind of taking that journey. And the thing that it still chaps me a little bit is how much we put our emphasis on our careers. And you hear now, if you're on the corporate side of things, you're going to hear all this stuff. Build the brand called you.
Mhm.
You know, use your name, build a brand called you. It's an article back at Fast Company, I think, in the late '90s or something like that, that came out, and it like took everything by storm and the whole brand. Basically treat yourself as a brand, which I can appreciate that. I can. But what it ends up doing is it ends up losing focus on what actually fuels your brand, and
Mhm.
that's your freaking health, right? And
Yeah.
then on that other side, you'll hear all these things like you got to make it to the convention, you got to get out there, you got to network, you got to make it to the network launches, and you got to go to a shitty Mexican restaurant and drink crappy whatever it is, and to be able to do blow and blow with blow and blow because blow and blow might have this or that might help your business or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And it never happened. I mean, you go to all
Mhm.
the events and nothing ever really happens. Every now and then, everybody has great ideas, but everything goes home. And meanwhile, they're sacrificing um, meetings and networking events and all these things with people that they don't love instead of the people they do love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just not congruent. And it's so funny how we get caught in this trap. And then if you're in a business owner, you're sitting back going, okay, well, it's not the brand called me, it's the brand called my business. So I got to get out there. I got to get more leads. I got to get more marketing. I got to work on my, if you got employees, if you can even get employees and hold employees, because a lot of people that I've been talking to, like, I got the employees in, but I can't ever get them to stay. And the ones that I do get in, that's crap quality and they just keep quitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're a business owner and you're having a trouble with employees, here's one thing that I've learned. Employees never quit a company. They quit their boss. And if you have employees leaving you, there's a good chance your energy is off. And you're probably not feeling good. You're probably on a level of burnout or maybe even deeper down burnout. We see it over and over again. So having the corporate side of things and then the entrepreneurial business side of things, there's so many things out there that we're being told to do to level up our career, to level up our business. And some of the strategies out there, some of the things out there are legit. There's a couple of them for sure. But there's a lot of them that are just bullshit.
Yeah. This comes down to being obsessed. We're a culture obsessed with doing. What's the next task I can do? What's the next strategy I can put in place? But it's all about outside action. And what really needs to happen is we need to stop and look at the internal action going on, right? The internal conflicts, the internal doubts, the internal business you have going on within, as we say, make your body your business, because, again, we have all this focus outside and hardly any inside. And yet when we're really strong on the inside, whether, that's health, energy, mindset, feeling, well rested, we're so much more capable to tackle what's on the outside. And before we move on to the second piece of this, the second point, I also really want to talk about kind of going back to that belief section where we have the doubt and can it really happen, and really reminding yourself, think about the placebo effect, right? Think about how placebo really works on belief. And if you have no belief right now that you can change your health, that you can change your, the burnout and fatigue and the frustration you are feeling in your work or career, your business, if there's no belief there, again, you're fighting upstream, right? So it's really about getting back to how can you get back to belief and congruency, because again, wanting what you can't have is the worst place to be. Right.
And one, I want to make a note here, guys. We were doing some training this morning with some of our clients, and we were talking about fat shaming. We've got people who come into our program who are fine with their weight. We've got some people that come in our program who are really overweight because their health is just slipped because they put so much into their careers that they completely forgot the thing, the engine, the power source, right? That fuels all that, and that's themselves. And one thing that we were talking about, and I fully believe this, so if you're overweight, this is not an attack on you, or if you've had a marriage go bad, or if you've had a bankruptcy. But here's what I know for sure. Nobody wants to be fat. Nobody wants to be lonely.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be broke. Okay? And that's why we get out there and we're always concerned about dating, right? So you see all the freaking dating websites all over the place. My God, Tinder and what it does to the society just blows my mind away. Some of you are like, yeah, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I think it's really just kind of screwing with our heads and what's really happening out there. But the fact is, none of us want those things. Now, I'll be honest, I have an introverted side of me, and I do like to be alone, right? That's different from lonely.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a big difference there from wanting to just like have some peace and quiet time and be on my own, and sometimes it could be for 4 to 6 weeks. I'm just like, I just need to get out of here for a little bit, and I'll go take that time. But I don't want to be lonely. I was fat, and even though I was like, I'm okay, I'm doing good. Every time somebody said, "Hey, what's going on, big guy?" and they were trying to be nice, I'm like, I hate this. I hate this, and I would take my shirt off and I would look in the mirror, and it's just like, oh my God, during those intimate moments, we definitely dim down the lights in the room just to kind of like, God forbid, let there be a mirror in the room. Oh my God. That was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then,
well, we're kind of digressing, but I do think it's an important point, and especially for women, like we want to love ourselves and our body no matter what our weight. And yet, for me, I always bring people back to, okay, who cares what society thinks weight is or isn't, but it's about what you want to experience.
Well, it's the weight, the loneliness, and the broke. And for some people, it's all three. And I think most people probably go through that phase, each one of those phases at some time in their life.
Yeah.
But the thing is congruent. So When I gained weight, I didn't want to be fat, but I was doing things that kept me there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I was not congruent.
Yep.
When I didn't want to be lonely after my divorce, there was a period of several years there where I just kept because I was doing things and making decisions and taking actions that fed loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the times where I didn't have any money, and it's because even though I had what I thought was a growth mindset, it was actually feeding scarcity.
Yeah.
It was feeding lack. It was feeding not enough. It was feeding this is never going to work. It was feeding if I want to make money or if I don't want to be broke, I've got to do something that I hate. Right? I've
Yeah.
got to sacrifice something. I've got to sacrifice my happiness. I've got to sacrifice my family, or I've got to sacrifice my health. And a lot of times it's all freaking three.
Yeah.
And
And that's actually a perfect segue into the second point we want to make with congruency, which is really you've got to free yourself from the why me. Right? So Adam, like you were saying, it's like, why me? Why is this happening to me? What's wrong with me?
yep,
So many people, this is absolutely pervasive in their head all day long, right? And they might not be saying why those words, just why me, but they're going to be saying things like, how could this be happening again? Or how come so and so never does their job? Or how come, this, that, the other? It's why me is often really veiled in complaints, right? Complaints of my life is not going the way it should be. And
yep,
this is a really, really key component to start freeing yourself from the why me. And the way you do that is you actually, again, stop looking at everything that's going wrong in your life and you start looking at the things that are going right. Is that making sense?
yeah. No, I definitely think that's legit for sure. You know, becoming clear. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so take what you want. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be lonely. It's probably one of those, or some version of it, right? And figure out what it is you need to do in order to be congruent with what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it just means stop. And I don't know if you guys have followed us for long, but one of the first things that we teach our clients is in order to start having a awesome life, energy when you wake up in the morning, a better body, healthy after 40 or whatever it is, you must first stop. You must stop doing those things that are incongruent with what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of the matter is it all comes down to one thing. And if there were one thing you only saw this video and you took away from you or took away from us and you had this, your main goal should be, it's going to sound a little selfish, should be on feeling as good as you possibly can. And it sounds selfish because it's like, oh, well, like my mom says, like, well, what about all the people out there? Just aren't you here to help them? It's like, well, yes, but if you really are concerned about having impact on the other people out there and you're concerned about making the world a better place, you can only do that at your full potential when you feel as good as you possibly can.
Yeah.
It's about your health. And it's more than just drinking water or getting exercise or getting more sleep or just eating well. There's so much more that goes into it. And it's learning how to get your energy back online and then how to use that energy to fuel your career and business. And that is what leads into congruency with what you really want. And some people watching this, Ellie, probably don't even know what their purpose is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, if you're exhausted and burnt out, you don't know what your purpose is, or you've gotten completely disconnected to it because, again, you're in that why me place. Why is life so difficult? Why is this such a struggle? Why? So if you're asking things like why me or what's wrong with me, that's a really good cue. And again, you might not be saying this out loud. This might be the questions that you ask yourself late at night. The questions that are popping through your head, in the middle of the day after a rough meeting. All of these things are clues and signs that you're actually, as Adam said, incongruent. And I think what's important to stack in here is that there's been a huge shift in the way that we operate. So it really wasn't that long ago that everything humans did was all it was all about survival, right? It was all about, okay, we just have to get married. We have to have these jobs. Everything is about survival. It's about functionality. It's about efficiency, right?
Yes.
But now things are changing. The voice of culture has gone from just stick it out because that's the system to you got to be happy, right? And that's a huge shift. And part of that has become just because of the history and the way that we're changing and the amount of wealth and the amount of opportunity that we have in front of us. And so I think that's really important as well too. It's not just that putting your health first and is selfish. It's actually that we've just evolved to realize we're at a new level. We can do more than just simply survive. We can actually have this level of fulfillment and happiness. And a lot of people are just still stuck in that, like, okay, this is just all about logic and survival.
Well, they think it's impossible to get what they want and be happy at the same time. They think
Yeah.
it's and that's how I felt the same thing. It's like I felt like there's no way I could grow a business or grow my career or provide for my family unless it meant sacrificing something. It's okay, I'll sacrifice time with little Johnny in order to do this because in the end he'll have a better college education, and it just blew up in my face. And it blows up in a lot of people's
Yeah.
faces. And sometimes it's not the financial side, sometimes it's the money side. So you got to ask yourself, how can intentional congruence change your life? I mean, think about it. There's 5 things that I can come up with. One, you just have more focus and clarity. I mean, it's pretty simple, and it feels pretty good when you have focus and clarity. It's like, wow, I'm actually doing things that are in alignment with what I want.
Yeah. And that feels amazing. You feel like, I mean, suddenly it's like superhero. It's like getting a turbo pack, right?
Right. 2, you become more driven, more motivated, and inspired to fulfill your purpose on every level and aspect of your life, and you just end up having more impact on people. 3, you experience more of your life doing the things you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. 4, you spend more time with the people you want to, right?
Yeah.
And then the 5th, and probably, which has probably been like, if we should have counted down like David Letterman style, the number one reason how intentional congruence can change your life, you get to experience more joy and happiness in your daily existence and in your work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. It's huge. So really ask yourself, and if you don't know, sit down and you can just close your eyes, just kind of take a couple of deep breaths, whatever kind of meditation works for you. Just kind of zone out for a second. Have a pen, use pen and paper, grab a notebook, go to Walmart, spend $1 and get one of these things, and start writing down, just start brainstorming. Give yourself a few minutes of just clearing out, what is it I really want? I really want this. Let's say I want $1 million. Everybody loves it. That's an easy one, right? Then you have to, okay, why do you want $1 million? Why? Well, I want $1 million to pay off my bills. Okay, cool. What else do you want to do? What it comes down to is if you keep going down why, you keep asking, why do I want that? Why do I want that? Why do I want that? And it's like, because I want to be free. I want to have freedom. It's like, okay, why? Because I want to be free to do the things that I want to do, like the song says, right? And then it comes down, and then it says, because I want to experience love and make the world a better place. At the bottom of it, it doesn't matter how tough and badass you are. At the bottom of it all, everybody just wants to feel like they're having impact, right? That they're really just being appreciated for what they're doing. That they want to have adventures and they want to have experience. So guys, if you're not living an adventurous life, look at congruency. Are you doing the things that are in line with what it is you want on the inside?
And that's the perfect, once again, perfect segue, Adam, into that third piece, which is really showing up and serving, right? We've kind of been talking about that, threading that through today, which is just really realizing, again, when you're suffering from exhaustion and burnout, you are not connected to your purpose. You feel like you can't serve anyone. It seems like everything you try to do, even with the best intentions, backfires on you. And again, it's really about understanding, like Adam, you said, the core of what you want is to be able to serve. And when you feel like you can't do that, when you can't add value because you feel like crap, or you just feel like life is constantly kicking you in the face,
or the nuts,
that's when you're in that space of incongruency. You're wanting something that you feel like can never happen and cannot be, and you don't know how to switch it. Right. So how do you get back to that congruency of being able to show up and really, really and truly serve? Not just, okay, I'm going to do this for you, even though I'm completely exhausted and I'm going to kind of resent you a little bit after I do this for you, but I'm going to do it because I want to appear to be a good person, or I do want to help, but it's not coming from that space of really feeling like you're giving. And so you're going to be exhausted, right? You're going to be exhausted after that experience.
And look, I was going to say, and look, putting yourself out there for a couple of days, maybe a week or two at the most, to get something done or to help somebody out. And, that's
Yeah.
it's admirable. It's cool. It's cool. But you got to recognize the difference between fatigue and burnout and just living a mediocre life. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people um, that I meet are content.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They appear to be happy, and they say things like, I'm a confident person, bigger is better, or whatever it is that they're saying. They're content. But you
Mm-hmm.
look at them and you're like, wow, you look a lot older than you should be,
Mm-hmm.
or you look, it's like you've gained a few pounds, or you look really tired,
Mm-hmm.
or and everything's good, and you're slowly seeing them just decay. And actually, not slowly, it's like they're decaying faster than they should be. They're organically decaying faster than they should be because they're not living the lives that they want. They're not being congruent. They know they want to feel healthier, but yet they go out there and do things that are anti-health,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
anti-energy.
Yeah.
And so, Ellie, do you have anything else to stack on that?
No, I mean, I think we can wrap it up, but the big thing is like we always say, I mean, your energy is everything. Your energy is everything, and we had a conversation earlier today with a woman who, again, she wants to lose some weight, and not necessarily because she feels like she has to, but because of what she wants to do. She wants to be able to do more nature hikes. She wants to be able to do things like zip lining and other things that she wasn't
Well,
able to do.
well,
And
she wants to be able to carry groceries from the store to the car.
hmm And again, this is a woman who's insanely talented at what she
Oh my
does,
God, yeah.
but she has put all of her energy into just this one facet of her life, and has let the other parts of her health go by the wayside. And again, this is a classic example. Just because your health is struggling and your energy is struggling, this is not a reflection of your worth or your skill. This is not a reflection of whether you're capable.
Mhm.
It's just showing you that there are some things out of balance. And once you start to get your balance and health back and your energy back, you're going to be like, the superhero powers you already have are going to be multiplied by like 100.
Yeah,
Right?
if you want to be a superhero, and maybe a lot of people are like, I don't need to be a superhero. I just want to feel good. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to feel normal. I talked to a woman the other day, an absolutely amazing woman, and she's in such despair and she's in her mid 40s, and her family's basically turned her back on her, and it was just so sad to hear. And she's basically ingrained this habit of I suck,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, and that it's not there. And we're going to work with her and really lift her out of that. But guys, the deal is if you know you're not living the way you want to be, and if there's something inside that you've wanted, that you want more health, you want more money, you want a better relationships, every one of those is fueled by your energy, and you're
Yeah.
not going to get it back just by getting more sleep, right? Like that lady I just talked to, I just mentioned, she was getting 10 to 12
Mm.
hours of sleep a night last month, but waking up exhausted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, guys, if you need help with that, we would love to invite you to come over to movethinksmile.com/talk and to book a free strategy call with us. You're going to get on the phone with either Elea or myself, and we'll just talk about how you can be congruent and kind of where you are, where your health is, what kind of your energy levels are, you know, how getting your energy back would really improve your career or your performance, how you would level things up, get you more free time, get you more freedom, have more impact on the planet, all while what we like to call growing younger.
Yeah. And guys, it's absolutely possible. We are seeing it with our clients just recently. Someone in our program just thought, I never knew I was worth this much. I never knew that I could actually ask for more. I just never had the confidence. And again, this is we see this constantly, that when we really feed our health, and we really feed our energy, that our income multiplies exponentially, right? Our relationships multiply exponentially. And it's like Adam, you said, no one wants to be broke or lonely or really overweight and not feeling healthy. And so why not start with your energy? Because again, all those outside actions, all the doing hasn't gotten you anywhere, because there's a massive incongruence living within you.
And that amazing woman that I talked to, severely overweight, She did something that you could do right now. She took radical responsibility and she made her body her business because she realized that if she wanted to get her career, if she wanted to get her life back, if she actually wanted to enjoy the second half of her life, she booked a call with us. And you guys, you can do that right now by going to movethinksmile.com/talk. And what's really important to note here, Ellie, is we got another holiday weekend coming up, and we're going to be available. We're not going to be taking the time off. We're going to make ourselves available. So we know a lot of people have this holiday weekend off, and now is the time you can take an hour for yourself. So what would happen if you took an hour for yourself? You took radical responsibility and you just took an hour for yourself to investigate what's possible.
Yeah. And I also want to say, I think there's a part of your brain that's like, oh man, I don't know. I don't want to talk to these guys, or like it could be a hard sale, or what are they going to tell me?
The guy with the beard is weird.
Yeah. And what's really important for you guys to understand is that, again, if what we have to say or what we discover in that conversation, if it's not a fit, no big deal, right? Again, for us, our level of congruency is that we are not going to offer you any solutions unless we know and feel 100% that it is something we can genuinely offer you.
We do want to let you guys know that people that we talk to, the whole purpose of a discovery call, strategy call, breakthrough session, whatever you want to call it, it's really about digging deep, uncovering the truth, and helping guide you on a path. And with about 30 to 40% of the people that we talk to, that path is not with us.
Yeah.
It's somewhere else. Like this is, we are congruent. We want to let you know we have high integrity in what we teach. We have high integrity in what we do. We have both been where you are, which is very unlike many people out there. And we're also experts in what we do. We take this stuff very, very seriously. We take every phone call very seriously because each one of you is a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, a son, a daughter, and a freaking superhero to someone out there. And by not having your energy at full capacity, you're zapping energy from them.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And I went there and I've been there. And guys, go to movethinksmile.com/talk. Pick a time on the calendar. Please fill out the questions after you book a session. And hopefully we'll be able to chat with you soon. But only you can take radical responsibility. Elea?
That's it. So just, you guys, we'd love to hear from you. If something that we said today really resonated with you, if you have questions, again, whenever you're watching this, leave a comment below. We will see it. We will get back to you. And as Adam said, we're here for you. Even if you just want to shoot us a private message on Facebook or on some other platform, we're here. Just let us know.
All right, guys. And if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on our podcast, too many pads, pods, I's, E's, whatever's out there. Come on over to Facebook, look up Move, Think, Smile, follow the page, and come on over to the Fatigue Free Professional Facebook group where you can catch our lives and be notified of all the stuff that's coming up every week. Until then, guys, we'll chat with you in a couple days.